Jessica stood at the entrance of the housing bureau, tapping her foot impatiently. She dialed her phone.
Jessica, I'm at the housing bureau. Are you guys here yet?
Yeah, stop rushing me. Do you think I'm going to steal your house or something?
Jessica's voice was filled with impatience. She never liked me and often called me a burden. When I was 18, I lost an arm while working in Guangdong. John and Mary used my compensation to buy a house in the county. The property was under their names, and I didn't think much of it at the time. But I never imagined that the house I got in exchange for my arm would become my brother's marital home a few years later.
It's just temporary accommodation, they said.
But that temporary stay lasted 8 years. Even after I got married and needed the house, they wouldn't return it. Despite having a written agreement with my parents stating that I was the actual owner, they still refused to give it back. Our family always favored boys over girls.
At 18, despite my excellent grades, I was forced to drop out and work, while my underperforming brother got to graduate from college.
Even his job after graduation was secured with the money I earned through hard work. Jessica, after marrying into the family, despised me and called me a freeloader. She tried to force me to marry a local troublemaker.
I refused and even considered drastic measures several times.
John and Mary, fearing something serious might happen, stopped pressuring me. Unwilling to be seen as useless, I went to work on my own and became a self-reliant employee at White Elephant. That's when I met Tom, my husband. He was also differently abled but hardworking and caring.
We got married and, with the help of acquaintances, started a small business.
But our good fortune didn't last. After a few years, Tom's business failed. We had to sell our hard-earned house to pay off debts. I had no choice but to return to C County with my family to reclaim the house that was rightfully mine. David and Jessica had occupied my house for 8 years and were very reluctant when they heard I wanted it back.
Tom and I had job interviews in the morning, so we arranged to meet them at the housing bureau at 3 p.m. to transfer the property.
David and Jessica were supposed to bring John and Mary to handle the transfer. But after waiting at the housing bureau for over an hour, there was still no sign of them. I knew they were unhappy about transferring the house, but that didn't change the fact that it was mine.
I had sacrificed an arm for that house, and I wasn't going to let it go. I could overlook the 8 years of free rent, but they had to return the house to me.
By the time the housing bureau closed, neither David nor Jessica had shown up. I had called several times, but they either told me to wait or didn't answer. I realized they had no intention of giving the house back.
Returning home empty-handed, I found the door wouldn't open.
I called my brother.
David, why can't I open the door?
Oh, Jessica and I went out, and the lock broke, so we had to change it.
David didn't mention why they hadn't gone to the housing bureau. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm.
Are you home now? Could you please open the door for us?
We're not home. You'll have to wait for us outside.
Knowing David, a while could mean half a day. Instead of waiting, I decided to find them and get the key. By the time the housing bureau closed, neither David nor Jessica had shown up. I had called several times, but they either told me to wait or didn't answer. I realized they had no intention of giving the house back. Returning home empty-handed, I found the door wouldn't open. I called my brother.
David, why can't I open the door?
Oh, Jessica and I went out, and the lock broke, so we had to change it.
David didn't mention why they hadn't gone to the housing bureau. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm.
Are you home now? Could you please open the door for us?
We're not home. You'll have to wait for us outside.
Knowing David, a while could mean half a day. Instead of waiting, I decided to find them and get the key. Jessica remained silent, as if it had nothing to do with her. But that was fine. If she wouldn't move, I'd start with her husband.
Tom, call the police and let them handle this.
The law states that minors cannot be left unattended. Clearly, they had broken the law. Since they showed no remorse, I had no choice but to involve the authorities.
Sister, what do you mean by this? We don't want to take care of her, and calling the police won't change that.
Won't change anything? You've already broken the law, and you're still so arrogant.
Bystanders couldn't stand it anymore and quickly intervened. Jessica's face turned pale, and she hurriedly stood up and pulled me aside.
We're all family. There's no need to call the police.
I shook off her hand and looked at her with disdain.
Family? Family, and you occupied my house for 8 years without paying a cent? Family, and you stood me up at the housing authority all morning? Family, and you left my daughter alone at home with the stove on while you came here to have fun? To hell with your family! What kind of family are you? If I hadn't found out in time, my daughter could have been in serious danger. I could charge you with endangerment.
Mentioning my daughter made me furious, and I couldn't stay rational. If this was an accident, I might let it go, but if it was intentional, I wouldn't let it slide.
The stove wasn't.
David started to say something but was stopped by a look from Jessica. At this point, my mom spoke up.
Oh, my memory is getting worse with age. I forgot to turn off the stove. Is Sophie okay? Come here. Let Grandma take a look.
My mom's interruption made me miss the chance to press further. But I didn't believe her excuse for a second. My mom was always frugal and hated waste. She would check 3 times to make sure the lights were off before leaving the house. There's no way she forgot to turn off the stove.
Forget the stove for now. How do you explain locking my daughter in the house?
We know we were wrong. We'll apologize to Sophie. Sophie, we're sorry. It was Uncle and Aunt's fault. Will you forgive us?
Seeing David apologize, Sophie not only didn't forgive them but started crying. It was clear how much psychological trauma they had caused her. I didn't want to argue with them any longer and made it clear I didn't want a repeat of this incident. But
Why didn't you go to the housing authority today? Don't give me any excuses. I want a reasonable explanation.
Well, it was Chris's birthday, and Mom was worried we wouldn't get a table at the restaurant, so she asked us to come and reserve one. We just managed to get a table and were about to call you.
the couple exchanged a glance, and David hurriedly stammered an explanation. Seeing my sarcastic smile, he stopped talking. It was ridiculous. When they couldn't come up with a reason, they started blaming my mom. They must have used her as an excuse many times before.
If you have something to do today, then let's meet at the housing authority at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Agreed?
Yes, agreed.
Since we agree, let's eat.
I gave Chris a birthday red envelope and then enjoyed a hot pot feast with Tom and Lily. When it was time to pay, David's hand trembled slightly as he took the bill, and he had to use several cards to cover the cost. This meal for 8 people, combined with my revenge spending, must have cost at least $3,000. By the time the housing bureau closed, neither David nor Jessica had shown up. I had called several times, but they either told me to wait or didn't answer. I realized they had no intention of giving the house back. Returning home empty-handed, I found the door wouldn't open.
David, why can't I open the door?
Oh, Jessica and I went out, and the lock broke, so we had to change it.
David didn't mention why they hadn't gone to the housing bureau. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm.
Are you home now? Could you please open the door for us?
We're not home. You'll have to wait for us outside.
Knowing David, a while could mean half a day. Instead of waiting, I decided to find them and get the key. By the time the housing bureau closed, neither David nor Jessica had shown up. I had called several times, but they either told me to wait or didn't answer. I realized they had no intention of giving the house back. Returning home empty-handed, I found the door wouldn't open. I called my brother.
David, why can't I open the door?
Oh, Jessica and I went out, and the lock broke, so we had to change it.
David didn't mention why they hadn't gone to the housing bureau. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm.
Are you home now? Could you please open the door for us?
We're not home. You'll have to wait for us outside.
Knowing David, a while could mean half a day. Instead of waiting, I decided to find them and get the key. They were certain I wouldn't confront our parents, even though they had deeply disappointed me. So, I had a backup plan. Once I got back to my room, I asked Tom to send me the video. I had anticipated that Jessica and David wouldn't return the house, so I had Tom secretly record a video while holding Lily as a cover. Originally, the house was under John and Mary's name, and I could have appealed to their emotions to get it back. But now, the house had suddenly become David and Jessica's marital property, and I knew I would have to go to court to reclaim it. Although I was the one who funded the house, the official owner wasn't me, making the lawsuit difficult.
To avoid prolonged complications, I planned to send Lily to my mother-in-law's place and then borrow some money to handle the situation. I decided to put off finding a job until I got the house back.
As soon as I sent Lily away, Jessica had someone remove the air conditioner from my room. Were they trying to force us out? But I wasn't afraid of them. Having worked in an appliance factory, I knew how to dismantle an air conditioner.
While David and Jessica were at work and John and Mary were out with the child, Tom and I took the air conditioner from Jessica's room, damaged a few key components, and then sent it for repair. I secretly paid the repairman to take his time fixing it.
When Lisa came back and found the air conditioner missing, she confronted me directly.
Nina, where's the air conditioner from my room?
The house had a power surge and it got damaged. The repairman couldn't fix it on site, so he took it to the shop.
Although Lisa didn't believe me, she couldn't do anything about it. But I underestimated her shamelessness. After enduring the cold for a few days, she started retaliating openly. She turned my room into a storage space, stuffing it with all the idle items in the house without even bothering to make an excuse.
Jessica, do you have to be so ruthless?
What did I do? This house is mine now. I can use it however I want. If you can't stand it, you can leave.
Don't you fear retribution for not letting someone live in a house they bought with their own money?
None of your business.
Fine, just don't regret it.
After leaving, Tom and I temporarily stayed in a friend's vacant house. We started a live stream from there, exposing the actions of David and Jessica. We hoped to use public pressure to get the house back. The live stream received a huge response, even trending on social media. Many people sympathized with us.
Unbelievable! If they love the house so much, should I build one for them in the cemetery?
This couple is outrageous. They can't buy a house themselves, so they take over their disabled sister's house and kick her out. I hope they get hit by a car.
How can someone like that be a father? Not only does he not feel sorry for his daughter losing a hand, but he also complains about the compensation. Why doesn't he cut off his own arm and beg for money?
This must be fake. No way something this dramatic is real. The streamer must have scripted it.
The online comments were mixed, but most were critical of Lisa and her family. These days must have been tough for them. Sure enough, shortly after the live stream ended, their social media accounts were flooded with criticism. People condemned their actions on various platforms, and some even went to Lisa's house to cause trouble. Their door was pelted with rotten eggs, and someone spray-painted "Return the house" on the door. By the time the housing bureau closed, neither David nor Jessica had shown up. I had called several times, but they either told me to wait or didn't answer. I realized they had no intention of giving the house back. Returning home empty-handed, I found the door wouldn't open.
Called my brother.
David, why can't I open the door?
Oh, Jessica and I went out, and the lock broke, so we had to change it.
David didn't mention why they hadn't gone to the housing bureau. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm.
Are you home now? Could you please open the door for us?
We're not home. You'll have to wait for us outside.
Knowing David, a while could mean half a day. Instead of waiting, I decided to find them and get the key. By the time the housing bureau closed, neither David nor Jessica had shown up. I had called several times, but they either told me to wait or didn't answer. I realized they had no intention of giving the house back. Returning home empty-handed, I found the door wouldn't open.
Called my brother.
David, why can't I open the door?
Oh, Jessica and I went out, and the lock broke, so we had to change it.
David didn't mention why they hadn't gone to the housing bureau. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm.
Are you home now? Could you please open the door for us?
We're not home. You'll have to wait for us outside.
Knowing David, a while could mean half a day. Instead of waiting, I decided to find them and get the key. These were reporters, and saying anything would be like announcing it to the world.
How dare you yell at me? It's all your fault. You bring bad luck. Ever since you married in, you've been scheming for sister's house. And you even wanted to marry Nina off to some thug in the village for a big dowry. I'll tell everyone what kind of person you are.
Go ahead, tell everyone. Everyone's involved in this. Let's see who can escape unscathed.
This scene of mutual accusations was truly something. The verbal battle eventually escalated into a physical confrontation. My dad, always proud, and Lisa, fierce and aggressive, made for a brutal fight. I watched with great interest, almost wanting to cheer them on. Since returning to County C, I'd been holding in my frustration, and finally, I felt a sense of relief. My dad didn't want to repay the money, and David even less so. My dad wanted David to repay it, but David didn't care. The pain wasn't his to bear. My dad, in his anger, provided proof that David had known about the house purchase agreement in advance. Armed with this evidence, I sued David to get the house back. This time, he and Jessica couldn't stay out of it. But the $600,000 they got from selling the house was already spent. They used $300,000 as a down payment for a fully furnished apartment, $150,000 on furniture, and the remaining $150,000 to set up a shop. They had spent every penny. Now they had three choices. 1. Sell the newly bought house and shop, but second-hand properties depreciate and they might not break even. 2. Transfer the current house and shop to me, meaning they would have no place to live. 3. Neither sell nor transfer, but borrow money to repay me the $600,000. No matter which option they chose, it would be difficult for them. Naturally, they wanted to choose the third option, but they couldn't borrow any money. So, Lisa came with gifts to apologize and asked for a few more years to repay the money. I laughed.
Giving you a few more years would mean I'd have to rent for a few more years. Why should you live in luxury while I wander without a home?
Negotiations failed, and Lisa reluctantly transferred the house and shop to me. But they refused to leave my new house, sticking around like a stubborn stain. I had anticipated this but didn't plan to force them out. Instead, I would use their own tactics against them. Just as they had driven me out, I would drive them out. But Lisa was much more thick-skinned than I was. Even if it meant living in the living room, she stayed. John and Mary couldn't stand it and moved back to the countryside. Determined, I turned the living room into a storage area and got a cat in heat. Lisa had no choice but to set up a few simple beds and continue camping out in my house. I couldn't help but admire her persistence. But after countless nights of being woken by the cat's cries and late-night disturbances, Lisa finally snapped.
Nina, do you have to be so ruthless?
What are you talking about, Jessica? What have I done?
You deliberately made the house unlivable and used the cat to scare us. Don't pretend you did nothing.
The house is just too full, I can't help it. And the cat doesn't understand human language, how could I make it scare you?
You!
My house is small, Jessica. Stay as long as you like. Oh, and remember to share the utility bills this month.
By the time the housing bureau closed, neither David nor Jessica had shown up. I had called several times, but they either told me to wait or didn't answer. It became clear they had no intention of giving the house back. Returning home empty-handed, I found the door wouldn't open. I called my brother.
David, why can't I open the door?
Oh, Jessica and I went out, and the lock broke, so we had to change it.
David didn't mention why they hadn't gone to the housing bureau. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm.
Are you home now? Could you please open the door for us?
We're not home. You'll have to wait for us outside.
Knowing David, a while could mean half a day. Instead of waiting, I decided to find them and get the key.